San Francisco is seriously one of the most walkable cities in the US. When I'm helping a buyer find a home, walkability is a big deal. In a moment, I'm going to show you one of my listings. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath TIC in an unbeatable location that's actually walkable to 2 commercial corridors within 10 to 15 minutes. If you're looking for other walkable areas, stay tuned because we'll check out some others today. So let's head on in and I'll show you what a walkable lifestyle might look like. So if you want to know what it's like to live in a walkable area, you'll want to stay tuned. And in fact, we'll be dropping more videos like this every Monday at 5 p.m. Okay guys, we're standing outside of one of our listings. We're actually standing in the exclusive front patio of this 2-unit building. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo, 1,400 square feet in the Russian Hill neighborhood. And it's priced at $856 a square foot, which is actually pretty low for what you typically see in San Francisco. So we're right in the front patio. As I mentioned, this is a 2-unit building, and what's nice about these buildings is that this building in particular is that you actually have your own walk-up door, right? So you're not necessarily going through a common area to get to your unit, which is really nice. It kind of gives you more of that like home feel. So this area here is exclusive use to our unit. It's a nice little front patio. What my clients who lived here were a young couple, I'd say maybe mid-20s, early 30s, and what you'll notice is that we have like front patios and decks, and then we're like adjacent to the back patios of the building in front of us. What cool story was that they actually, like, she literally felt like she was like in a Friends episode. It was like their own little compound. They all knew each other. They're all around the same age. It was like a really fun little community that they had going here. So this is just like a nice little space where you can like sit outside with your morning coffee. It's really cute and quaint. We really jazzed it up with some planters and also super low maintenance. So really a really cute area, and it's just like a nice thing to look out to when you're walking into your front door. So let's head on into the unit and I'll show you inside. So this unit is a tenancy in common, and it would be most comparable to a condo. If you want to learn more about tenancies in common, we do have a video where we dive deep into what those are. But essentially, just like the TLDR is that it's basically like a condo in the sense that you do have an HOA, it's governed by an HOA, you have HOA dues, and you share common areas. The main differences between a TIC and a condo are that you have essentially one property tax bill for the entire building because there is one title. So usually that's just sort of wrapped into your like monthly dues and how you pay those. Every building is different. This is a boutique building, meaning it's like boutique is generally 4 units or less. And when you see that, they're generally they're self-managed, right? So you have a lot of autonomy. There's no, like, you're making the rules with your other co-owners essentially. But a TIC, you do need to work with a TIC lender. So you can't go through your conventional lenders like a Chase or Wells Fargo. There are many TIC lenders in San Francisco. So that's another difference. And then there's some differences in terms of rent control in the city, where there's a cap in how much you can raise the rent, but you can definitely get a full market rate tenant in place at the time in which you're renting, but there's just that caveat of the cap. So before we head on in, you've got this like really cute little front patio. Again, my clients used to sit out here, talk to their friends at the building across the way, and another just like cute outdoor space. Like, since COVID, outdoor spaces have been a big deal. So it's really nice that even in a small condo, you have like some exclusive areas that are just exclusive to use for your unit. Okay, all right, let's head on in. So I love this unit because, as I mentioned, it's 1,400 square feet. It's all open space. So the building went through a major renovation a few years ago, and they've really chosen some timeless finishes. So everything is pretty clean. It wasn't necessarily done yesterday, but it definitely looks as it was. You've got these beautiful white oak hardwood floors, a lot of windows, so you're getting a lot of good natural light. They do have really nice placement of recessed cans, and everything's bright in here. So it is really just nice and bright. Honestly, you don't even need the lights on in here, which again, like, natural light is a big deal for buyers, right? People want to live in a nice, bright space. So we're walking in directly to the living room. Another thing about this unit that I love so much is that, like, they literally they use every ounce of square footage here. So all of this here is closet space, right? Storage space. So you've got like your version of a coat closet here, and then you've got some more storage down here. And then there's some additional storage up there. I am a little shrimp, so I can't reach that, but some more storage up there. And then you've got a bathroom, a full bathroom on the main level. And so again, it wasn't done yesterday, but it's very beautifully done. You've got heated floors here in this bathroom, beautiful white, clean finishes. Just very clean. You have a window here, which was frosted, of course, because it looks out to the front area there. And so frosting a window is like a nice thing you can do without blocking out any natural light, but people can't see into your unit. Okay, so we're in the living room here. I love this space because it's a great entertainment floor plan. My clients were younger and they definitely love to have like friends over while they're cooking and having wine, and people are hanging out and sitting in the living room or in the dining area, and like you can all just be like commingled, right? Like that's the nice thing about a really open floor plan, is that it makes for a great place to entertain. Okay, so we'll head on over this way. This is your dining area. This is a pretty large round table that fits 6 people, and you definitely have some space on all sides and still a lot of room for some bar stools at your kitchen island. The highlight of this unit, you guys, are the views. So you have beautiful water views here. And you can see them like from this entire space, which is so nice. So when you're cooking or washing your dishes, you have like a really great view to look out to. There's also this like Juliet balcony. So it's a little bit more than a Juliet balcony. It's a little bigger than that. You can actually fit like 2 small chairs and a little table if you wanted to come out here and have your morning coffee and enjoy the view. So again, this is already like 3 outdoor spaces in this unit that are exclusively used for this unit. So that's a really nice bonus. And again, beautiful like floor to ceiling glass doors, just allowing for a lot of natural light. You have beautiful windows on this side, and you are detached on this side, which is pretty cool, because in San Francisco, it's a really dense city, right? So a lot of times the homes are attached and they're basically on top of each other. And so to get, this many windows on all sides is pretty unique. All right, so the kitchen, I love a good island. As you can see, we have a pretty large island. These are pretty big chairs, there's 4 of them. It goes pretty deep, so you can like comfortably sit there and have dinner, right? You've got this beautiful light fixture. Again, just like really clean finishes throughout that are timeless. So even in a few years, like this place is gonna look brand new, and it's not been done for a few years, but it looks very, very new. It's very, very clean. My clients kept it really nicely kept. We didn't have to do much cleaning up when we brought this to market. You've got a nice big farm sink here. Again, I'm standing here in the kitchen looking out to this amazing view. The kitchen again has a ton of storage, so it's a pretty decent sized kitchen for a 1,400 square foot unit. This here is, they've really done it up. You've got the soft close. Everything has it's very organized, right? So all your drawers are soft close. And what I like about them is that they kind of just, they're just like disappearing into the space, right? You don't have any knobs or anything, but it's just beautifully done. So you've got gas burners here, which is also nice. This is not really a problem for most of our inventory in San Francisco, because as you may or may not know, most of our inventory is like from 1900 to about 1950. And it's more so a thing in new construction where you can't actually have gas stoves anymore. So this is really nice to have, especially if you're a cook. I mean, we all know making a soup on an electric stove isn't super ideal. But on this side, if you want to come around here, there's just also, again, a ton of storage. So this is nice. This comes out, and this is like where you would put your garbage bins here. You've got trash and recycling. You have a dishwasher. You've got nice appliances here. So this is a Bosch dishwasher, pretty sizable. And then, you know, just several drawers on either side, down here, up here. All of these are storage up here. Sizable fridge. And again, just like beautiful natural light with some amazing views. Just for context here, so this is priced at $856 a foot. It's just shy of 1.2 million. In this neighborhood, Russian Hill, there's actually very few inventory that turns over, just in general, but also to get into this neighborhood for a single family home, it's much more expensive because the single family homes in this area are pretty large. On average, they're about 3,500 square feet, and the price per square foot ranges from $1,100 to $1,400 a foot. So price-wise, that really kind of puts you at like a starting price point of $3.5 million for a single family home, but they sell all the way up to north of $6 million. And again, there's just not that much inventory in the area as well. So this is really nice if you want to be in this neighborhood. You're walkable to so many and adjacent to so many like top neighborhoods in the city. This is one of them. Like, to get into this area for this price point is pretty great. All right, so let's go downstairs. So this is a two floor unit. Okay guys, and you don't want to miss this. Like, if you bring the camera down here, you can still get the water view down here, which is really cool. It's like a cute little feature. And it also just brings in more natural light. So although you're going down, sometimes the worry is like when you have units that go down, you lose light, but you actually get pretty decent light down here too. So you're walking in here to the primary bedroom closet. They've done California closet system in here. You can have like your stuff can be just like super organized. You've got all these like pull out drawers, and so just like really nice to have like your space organized. Like I am an OCD freak with that stuff, so this is a dream to me. So you walk in, this is a king size bed, you guys, if you can't tell in the video. So it's a pretty decent sized room, especially by San Francisco standards. And you still have some space to have like a little nightstand situation. It's pretty private, so you don't have any windows looking into your room, which is really nice too. Again, another thing that is a thing in some of these big cities, because we just don't have space to build, that like homes are literally on top of each other. So again, another unique feature about this unit is that you have views from every level. So we're in the primary bedroom. Again, remember we went down, not up, and you still get the water view from here. So if you come over here, you still get the bay views, which is awesome. And then from this window, you just have like a really pretty tree to look out to and some green open space. So that's nice. Again, this unit is, it's definitely not on the smaller side. It's, 1,400 square feet is definitely sizable. But again, just the amount of storage in this unit is phenomenal. So again, you have another deep closet here with some storage shelves. If like, I am a big shopper, so this kind of storage is very, very important. Okay. What else? Let's go into the bathroom here on this level. It's sort of a Jack and Jill, so it shares, this bathroom is accessible to both of the bedrooms. Again, really nice finishes. You have a window here. We've also frosted this window, but you're still getting in some level of light down here. Clean, just white finishes. You've got your full-size washer and dryer in here too, so it's nice to have the washer and dryer on the bedroom level, because like who really wants to lug laundry up and downstairs? So it's nice to just have that here, and it's a full size. And that's another thing that you don't always get in a condo or TAC, because there's just not enough closet space to put a larger washer and dryer. So if you've ever lived in a big major city, you know that like having a full-size washer and dryer is important. So you've got this really nice walk-in shower with the with this rain shower head here. a nice marble finish. Like this is another detail that I think, you know, can be missed often. Where you got that little cubicle there to put your like shampoo, your conditioner, all your things, right? And you don't need to like have this extra storage in your shower. It's nice that it's built in, especially when there's not a ton of space. So, okay, and then this is nice too. You have the mirrors, but they're also more storage, you guys. Like this is a storage dream. Oh look, and you have mirrors on either side, so you can check your makeup from every side. Okay. Okay, so now we're walking into the second bedroom. Again, like this space to me is like, could be very versatile. Like it's a big space. Like this is like actually size of some people's apartments in San Francisco. So again, another beautiful closet with amazing built out storage. Another window that kind of has some, you know, some green outlooks, and just like you have space to let some light in, which is nice. I know I keep honing in on like the space between the buildings and like the amount of windows, but it's a thing and it's a great thing to have. So this space can also be used as an office. Like my clients actually had a desk set up in here because the space is just so big that like you can use it as a closet and also like, you know, make it a work from home space too. Okay, so they've done these like shears here, which are actually kind of cool. You know, it doesn't close off the space and you just like can get the light from the window over there. And so instead of like installing doors and closing off the space, I think this was a nice alternative. Okay. And another feature here, you'll notice that the floors were kept like concrete. It's painted, right? The concrete has been painted to this like light gray, but it's a kind of a cool like industrial vibe. And then you just add some like carpets to warm it up, but I like it. You could easily lay down some hardwood floors if you wanted to bring that same hardwood floor that's upstairs. That wouldn't be hard to do, but I think it's cool. Okay, and then this is the second bedroom. It's pretty also decent size. This is a queen bed in here, but we've done so because we wanted to show that you can actually have another work from home space in your bedroom if you wish to have that. There's definitely space for that. And then let's go out this way because this is another entrance to the unit, and this is going to bring us back to where we started at the front patio. So if you're downstairs in the bedroom level, you don't need to go up and then come back down. You have access to your front little yard here, which is kind of cool. We've got all the smart lock systems in actually all entry points. So it's just like the Schlage. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but anyway, it's just a little code situation to get in and out. Okay. And oh, actually, there's one more outdoor space, you guys. Like I can't believe I almost forgot that. Okay, let's go this way. So we're back into the primary suite. And so off of your primary, you have another little outdoor space here. It's not a ton, but every little outdoor space counts. But you come up here and like, again, the view, you can see the view from here. And then you have this little small area just behind where we have the table and chairs. And then just like really pretty landscape, clean little area here. So lots of options for outdoor space. You've got amazing views, amazing light, great price per square foot for a renovated unit in this area. There's literally not anything that you would do to move in here. Like it's truly turnkey. It has radiant heat, which radiant heat is really nice. So that's like the heating system that's in under the floors. What I think outside of this unit just being like obviously beautiful in a really top location in San Francisco is that it's so walkable, and it's actually walkable to the most walkable quarter in San Francisco with a 99 walk score. So we'll talk about that in a second. First up on my list of most walkable neighborhoods in San Francisco, it's coming in at a nearly perfect walk score of 99, and that neighborhood is North Beach. North Beach is such a cool neighborhood. It's super historic. You've got a good mix of people who live there. You've got young folks, you've got families with children, you've got people who just want a second home in the neighborhood because there's so much to do there. It's also adjacent to many other walkable neighborhoods. And so if you worked in the financial district, it's also a great place to live because you can walk to the financial district from North Beach pretty easily. It's not necessarily a super flat walk back up to North Beach from the FiDi, but definitely walkable. So what's cool about North Beach is that it's like, if you're a foodie, like it's food lovers paradise, especially if you love Italian food. It's basically like our little Italy, and who does not love pasta or pizza? A trip to North Beach would definitely not be complete without grabbing a slice of pizza at Tony's Pizza. It's a super, super famous spot. It's always got a line. And I know sometimes going to these places with lines could be sometimes overrated, but this has been around for many, many years. It's a San Francisco staple, and so you must try it. I also love Sottomare. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm probably butchering it, but it's also an Italian restaurant that's heavily influenced by seafood. So I am actually a pescatarian myself, and so I obviously love seafood and Italian, and so it's a great mix. So if you are also very into seafood and Italian food, you definitely want to check that out. The best cioppino I've ever had, maybe butchering that name too. Anyway, okay, lots of cocktails too, so if you like to socially drink, it's a great place to hang out. There's not a shortage of places to have drinks there, but one of my favorites is Bar April Jean. It's a newer one in the neighborhood. It's very, very cool. They've got these like really cool craft cocktails that are amazing, and it's just a really nice place to hang out. So Washington Square Park is kind of like the heart center of the neighborhood, as there's like several rows of restaurants and stuff to do right around Washington Square Park. It's also a cool park if you just want to have a picnic at. It's in front of a beautiful church too, and it's some good people watching. So sometimes I'll just like go hang out in the park, grab a blanket, have a little picnic, bring a bottle of wine, read a book, whatever. You also have Joe DiMaggio Park. So no matter where you're in the neighborhood, you're going to be pretty walkable to restaurants, cocktail bars, and parks. Another cool thing about North Beach is that you've got the North Beach Festival, which is another cool festival that happens in San Francisco. There's some other neighborhoods that do festivals too, but North Beach Festival is one of them. It's one of the biggest ones. It is like over a weekend, so 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, and like all the restaurants open, all the bars open. There's street vendors, there's people hanging out, like again, people with their strollers and their kids or friends just having cocktails. It's like a really fun thing to do. Generally the weather is like cool, better at that time of year too. So if you're in North Beach and happen to be there at the North Beach Festival at the time in which they do that, you'll definitely want to check that out. North Beach is also historic, as I mentioned. It's home to a few staple San Francisco landmarks like Coit Tower or the Filbert Street Steps. If you are into parrots, it's the only two places where you can actually see and hear wild parrots in San Francisco, so it's so cool. There's a lot of stairs and steps through the neighborhood that will take you from one neighborhood, from North Beach to the next neighborhood, like Russian Hill. I'm actually at Francisco Park, which is in Russian Hill, but I can walk to North Beach and all of the great stuff in North Beach from here within 9 minutes. From the Bay Street unit that we just left, this is literally half a block up. So this is a new park. It's actually really cool. They've got a really nice green space for the dogs down there. You've got this bridge that takes you up, and it's just really pretty to look at too. So that's the thing about I love about San Francisco, is they're actually using a lot of these empty lots to not only build real estate, but they're building like some beautiful green spaces, which I think adds a lot of value to the neighborhood. So that's a really cool thing about North Beach, is that you can get to so many adjacent neighborhoods that are also super walkable and highly desirable neighborhoods. Oh, and I can't forget, because this is a really new thing and I don't have all the details yet, but you can definitely Google it. The Transamerica building, which is again iconic to the San Francisco landmark, was bought a couple of years ago, and they just redid the whole thing, and they created a park at the Transamerica building. So I've not gone to check it out yet, but I hear that it's really, really cool. So that's another new cool thing in the neighborhood. Okay, so now that I got you all excited to move to North Beach, what does it actually cost to live here? So in North Beach, there aren't really any single family homes in the area. It's like, there really aren't very many. So it's a neighborhood where you're definitely going to be in a condo or a tenancy in common like Bay. But while it has the highest walk score of all neighborhoods in San Francisco, it's actually not that expensive to live here, and it's actually the least expensive of all the areas we'll explore today. So on average, it runs about $1,000 a square foot, and the median price is $1.14 million. So generally a pretty low price point by San Francisco standard. So you get all the things that you want in a neighborhood, and I know if you're watching this from like the Midwest, you're gonna be like, what? At 1.14 million on average, that's pretty affordable by San Francisco standards. In a minute, we're gonna talk about one of the most underrated neighborhoods with a pretty decent walk score, but next up on the list is Pacific Heights, coming in at a walk score of 97. Pacific Heights is a world-renowned neighborhood, so if you are anywhere in the world, I can guarantee you that people think like Pac Heights is the mecca of San Francisco. It is known for its elegance, and it attracts pretty affluent families, young professionals, entrepreneurs, but also in families with children, but also is really attractive to younger folks because of its walkable nature. So the neighborhood is pretty hilly, but there are some areas of the neighborhood more on the eastern side of it that is pretty flat. And what's nice about that is that it's actually that those flat areas are actually most walkable to the walkable corridors of the neighborhood. Pacific Heights is also immediately adjacent to Presidio, which is another very affluent neighborhood in San Francisco and very well known. Presidio Golf is amazing, where you can obviously play golf, but you can also do some hiking throughout the park and the course with some views of the Golden Gate Bridge. There's two amazing parks in the neighborhood as well. Alta Plaza Park, which is actually one of my favorite parks in the city, and you've got Lafayette Park as well. So two great parks that are in the neighborhood. It's super walkable with two walking corridors in the neighborhood. Fillmore Street is probably among the more popular walking corridor of the two in Pacific Heights. It spans about like 5-6 blocks with, you've got grocery stores like Molly Stone's, you have several bodegas along Fillmore Street, you have great shopping there, so you can go buy some amazing clothes, go makeup shopping there. You've got several restaurants, high and low, good cocktail lounges. It's just a really great place to walk and just pop into a store, do some shopping, have an ice cream. Like, you can really do it all on Fillmore Street. Some of my favorites, again, I'm still on this Italian kick. I love Taylor Sons. It's a phenomenal place. The Snug is a really cute, cozy lounge where you can get actually some really good Wagyu smash burgers and French fries, but also enjoy some craft cocktails, and the space is just really cute. I also love Jane on Fillmore Street. It's a great place to just go work out of. I sometimes like to go and work there if I want a change of scenery from my office. They have great like acai bowls, great like granola bowls. They do just a lot of like great breakfast foods, but also really good lunch options as well. So it's a really cool place. The second walking corridor in Pacific Heights is Sacramento Street. Sacramento Street is gonna have less like restaurants and like places to grab a cocktail, but it's still very cool. There's like Laurel Village, which isn't very far from there as well, where you've got like a Sephora there, you have a grocery store, you have a Walgreens, like you have a bunch there. But Sacramento Street proper, you've got a lot of interior design shops there. So if you're looking to redesign your home, that's probably a place where you're gonna find an interior designer. There are literally several on that block. There's also really cool like coffee shops there. There's small bodegas there. There's some cool restaurants. So it's another walking corridor. You can go get a facial at Skin Spirit, which is on Sacramento Street. There are some smaller boutiques there as well. I was married at one point and I actually got my second wedding dress on that block. I'm forgetting the name of the shop, but it's a really cute shop that has some really beautiful like gowns if you are going to a gala or whatever, or a wedding. You want to pop in there. They have some beautiful stuff in there. So you can do some shopping there. You can find your interior designer there, and you can grab a coffee and lunch there as well. So there's really lots to do in a neighborhood. You've got those 2 walking corridors, 2 parks adjacent to the Presidio, the golf course, and it's really accessible to the marina in Cow Hollow, which we'll touch on in a minute. So as I mentioned, it is one of the most iconic neighborhoods in San Francisco, but definitely on the expensive side of things. However, it is a neighborhood that does offer a wide array of products in terms of type of home. So you've got single family homes, you've got condos, you've got TICs. Even if you're at more of a starter price point in terms of your budget in San Francisco, you can actually get into the neighborhood. So on average, condos are roughly $1.65 million for about a 2-bedroom condo. And that's roughly around $1,100 to $1,200 a foot. But there are definitely condos that are selling north of $3 million, $4 million, with big views and up to like $2,000 a square foot. So my clients actually had what I would consider a starter budget, around $1.6 million. They just bought a 2-bedroom condo that was actually beautifully recently just renovated, turnkey with a small peekaboo view on Sacramento Street. So they can literally walk out of their front door and be in the commercial walking corridor, which is super cool. They are a younger couple, so that was very important to them, that they can walk within 5 minutes to a Pilates studio or to grab a coffee. But single family homes in the neighborhood are much more expensive. On average, a good starting price point is around $5 million, and they start around $1,400 a square foot. So it's definitely not a cheap place if you're looking for a single family home. All right, guys, next up on the list is the most underrated walkable neighborhood in San Francisco, coming in at a walk score of 93, which is fairly high. So you might be wondering, why is it so underrated with such a high walk score? So West Portal is definitely an underdog neighborhood that does not get as much buzz as some of these other neighborhoods that we're talking about today, or just generally in San Francisco. But I think that's what makes it so special. It's a neighborhood that has a lot of character and community, and you get a lot more bang for your buck in that area compared to some of these other walkable areas in San Francisco. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. I just saw this community garden. I've not been up here at this park, but so cool. This is what I love about San Francisco, you guys. They're like creating these amazing green spaces throughout the city and like creating these community gardens. There's a beautiful view in front of me. Anyway, I'm gonna have a seat because we've been doing a lot of walking and I'm getting a little tired. Okay, so West Portal, back to West Portal. So it's a very charming neighborhood, honestly. The homes are a little bit larger, they're detached. It's not necessarily like a sunnier part of town, so I think that is something that like keeps the prices down or just doesn't make it high on people's criteria list. Most of these neighborhoods that we're exploring today generally do get better weather. West Portal tends to be cooler and foggier pretty much year round. So if you're looking for good weather, maybe this is not the neighborhood for you, but it literally has everything, you guys. There's a very cute downtown. There's a Muni line that can take you straight to downtown if you're working downtown. There are a lot of green spaces nearby. So West Portal Avenue is super cute. It's not a big downtown. It's more of a, I call it like a boutique downtown, but you've got a Muni that runs through there. There are a lot of like smaller mom and pop shops. There's a lot of bodegas there. And they actually are like really amping it up because they just opened up another Original Joe's, which I forgot to mention for North Beach. That's another North Beach staple. Original Joe's is just like classic food, right? Like you know what you're gonna get. If you're a pescatarian, it's a great place. If you're a steak person, it's a great place. Like you can literally have everything there. So they just opened up a little Original Joe's, which they also open up in the arena. So they're opening up kind of throughout the city. They opened up one on West Portal Avenue. There's also another cool spot called Elena's. I've not been. It's on my list to go. But it's a Mexican restaurant that it literally does not feel like you're in West Portal. There's like nothing like it in the neighborhood. It's a really pretty, aesthetically pleasing space. I hear the margaritas are amazing. I hear the food is amazing. So I'm excited to check it out. If you're ever in West Portal, I think that's a must go to. West Portal is also adjacent to the Parkside neighborhood and Pine Lake Park. And so that means that you have really close access to Stern Grove, which is an amazing park. It's really fun in the summertime because they do all summer, they host free concerts on Sundays. So you can literally just like walk over on a Sunday, bring a lawn chair or like a cute blanket, sit out on the grass, and there's like a full-blown concert going. Like, and the lines get crazy, you guys. Like, it's actually a thing, which is so cool that San Francisco does that. I think that's amazing. And so not far, you've also got Stonestown Galleria, which is in the Stonestown kind of lakeshore neighborhood, which is adjacent to West Portal. And there you've got a mall. It's like a full-blown mall where you have like a Nordstrom and a Zara and like everything you can think of. There's a Trader Joe's there, there's a Whole Foods there, there's a Target there. All that is in pretty close proximity. So there's like literally everything you need from like the basics of like walkability and just like day-to-day living. You could like have it in West Portal. It's also just another really nice area that if you have a budget of a single family home budget of in the mid-2s, you can get a really cute, charming home there, which is pretty difficult to find at that $2 million price point in other walkable neighborhoods in San Francisco. Okay, so what's also unique about the real estate in West Portal is that a lot of the homes are detached. It's one of the very few neighborhoods in San Francisco where you can find detached homes. And so you can definitely find that here. Again, the average price point for a single family home is around $2 million, of about like $1,050 a square foot. So again, hard to achieve in other walkable neighborhoods in San Francisco. Another unique feature about the homes here is that generally on average, the lot sizes for a single family home are about 2,500. But in West Portal, the lot sizes are larger and they range from about like 3,300 to 4,300 square feet. So you just have a lot more space to move around, and means you have a little bit more yard space, a great, which is amazing for like kids and just entertaining outside. So West Portal, if it's not on your list, it probably isn't, because it generally isn't on many people's lists. It's a neighborhood that a lot of people don't even know exists, but it's a very cute. I love it. It's also adjacent to a very prestigious neighborhood called St. Francis Woods. Most people have heard of that. So if you can't afford to live in St. Francis Woods, the homes there are very large and much more expensive. You've got West Portal that is adjacent to it and kind of gives you the same feel. Okay, next up on a list now is Marina and Cow Hollow. These are two different neighborhoods, but we'll talk about them together because they are adjacent to one another, offer a lot of the same qualities, and you can definitely walk to one from the other very easily. So the Marina in Cow Hollow is coming in at a walk score of 94, which is pretty solid. This neighborhood has a pretty good housing stock, a good mix of single family homes, condos, some newer construction condos as well. So in terms of price points, you kind of have a wide array of price points in the area. It is super popular amongst young folks because there is so much to do, but it's also really attractive to families as well. It has several walking corridors, including Chestnut Street, Union Street, and there's a little bit sprinkled on Lombard Street, but not too much. It's kind of a busier street, so there's definitely a lot of restaurants there, but it's a little bit of a busier vibe. So let's start with Chestnut Street, which is the main hub in the Marina District. It is an amazing street where you'll find amazing restaurants. Some of my favorite places to go there are A16, Mamanoko's for sushis. We talked about Little Original Joe's opening up in Marina as well. That just opened. It has an incredible line, so you may want to go on an off day that's not like a Saturday or Sunday or an evening dinner, but definitely worth checking out. Very cute spots. So Chestnut Street, not only do they have restaurants, but they have lots of gyms and places to work out, different studios, yoga studios, Pilates studios, you name it. There's something to do in terms of a workout there as well. Lots of cocktail bars. It's a pretty famous area for like hanging out and grabbing a drink. There's a lot. It's a very youthful feel, but lots of families live in the neighborhood as well. The second walking corridor that's on the Cow Hollow side is Union Street. And so you can definitely walk. So if you're living in the Marina, you can walk to Union Street very easily. It's not too much of an uphill walk either, so it's very manageable. Union Street is another row of amazing restaurants, workout studios. There's an Equinox gym there, several restaurants. There's a Sephora for shopping. There's a Soul Cycle. So you can literally work out there. You can eat there. You can grab coffee there. And in terms of like restaurants, there's like great places for coffees, lunch, and dinners. So not a shortage of things to do on both Union Street and Chestnut Street. The neighborhoods are pretty sunny as well. They generally get better weather than most areas in the city. It is on the marina side, you are closer to the water, so you are going to have a little bit more fog, but generally speaking, the weather is really pleasant. I'd say the marina and Cow Hollow are top on people's criteria list. Okay, these neighborhoods are all on the north side of the city, so if you're living in like Pacific Heights, you can easily walk to the marina and Cow Hollow as well. Some parts of Russian Hill, you can walk to the marina and Cow Hollow as well. So they're pretty adjacent. I mean, the city is a really small city, but these all kind of like hug the north border of San Francisco. Another reason why people really love living in the marina is that you have a lot of options for green spaces. So you have Marina Green and Marina Boulevard, which is an amazing place to just go on a really long walk along the water. There is a Marina Run Club. They often meet there and go for runs with a big group. You can easily access Golden Gate Bridge from the marina as well. And so you've got just some really beautiful big views from being along the water. You can get bay views, Golden Gate Bridge views, from some of the homes there that have fantastic views, or just kind of hanging out in the park. It's a great place to hang out in the park with a beautiful view of the Golden Gate Bridge. And you've also got Chrissy Field, which is also an amazing place to just hang out and have a picnic or whatever, right? It's just a great green space. They often do like food trucks along like Chrissy Field as well, and Fort Mason, which is a really fun thing where just a bunch of food trucks will park and you'll have your options of things to do. People go and hang out there with their kids and just try a bunch of different foods. Like, who doesn't love doing that? They have like little wine stations too, so you can have some drinks and have some food and not have to bring a ton of food with you. So you can have some food and drinks and do an outdoor picnic, which is really fun to do. So what does it cost to live in the marina or Cow Hollow? So Cow Hollow actually is gonna be more of an area where you're gonna see more condos and single family homes, whereas the marina, you have a good mix of condos, TICs, and single family homes. It's definitely not the cheapest part of town to buy a single family home in. On average, you want to have a starter budget of at least $3 million, and then it goes way north of that to some new construction on Marina Boulevard for $20+ million. For a condo or a TIC, I'd say the average price for like a 2-bedroom condo is at least $1.5 million, but probably more so in that like $1.8 to $2 million to get a really nice spacious place. And if you want a place with views and turnkey and beautiful finishes, it can definitely go north of $2-3 million for even a condo. In terms of the housing in Marina and Cow Hollow, it's definitely an area where you can see a wide range of price points. Like, you can buy a 1-bedroom unit for under $900,000 or under $1 million and be in a really nice neighborhood, or you can buy a single family home in the area. I'd say on average, a starting budget for a single family home in the area is at least $3 million, but it definitely can go well north of that for a beautiful new construction home that was newly built on Marina Boulevard that's $20+ million. So the price points you have a wide array of price points for a single family home, but definitely probably not less than $3 million to get into the neighborhood. So again, it's an area where you can find a lot of different housing options and a wide array of prices. All right, next up on the list is South Beach, coming in at a walk score of 91. I'm actually going to talk a little bit about some of the adjacent areas there because they're all pretty close and offer a lot of the same things. And again, you can walk to one from another. So in this South Beach segment, we're going to also talk about Mission Bay and the Dogpatch neighborhoods. So I grew up in San Francisco in Bernal Heights, which is like the southeast border of the city, but I've lived in most neighborhoods in San Francisco, and more recently was a longtime resident of the South Beach area. So South Beach is actually wonderful for a lot of reasons. I lived there for many years, and I definitely say it like checked off almost every box in terms of criteria. So let's talk about the weather in South Beach. Like, the weather in South Beach is honestly probably the best weather in San Francisco, aside from maybe the next neighborhood that we'll talk about shortly that's a little bit more central. So what's unique about that is that South Beach actually runs along the water. It's truly a really warm and sunny neighborhood. I'll albeit being along the water. I love South Beach because not only the weather, I am a warm weather girly, so I really appreciated having more sunnier days. I would like often be home and drive across town, and the weather would change so dramatically. So I loved living in South Beach for that reason. South Beach is also super walkable. It's also a very well-known area. It has like iconic landmarks. It has great walkability, it has great transportation, and it has a lot of new inventory. It's actually a pretty new neighborhood by San Francisco standards. I think even 20 years ago, there really wasn't much there. So in South Beach, you've got the Embarcadero, which is like the main strip in that neighborhood. It is a very well-known street. It's beautiful, it's tree-lined. You've got a muni that runs along it, and you have the Ferry Building, which is an iconic San Francisco landmark. In the Ferry Building itself, they have great markets. They have a lot of food options. They have a lot of treats. There's just so much to do in the Ferry Building itself. And of course, you've got the ferry that will take you to the East Bay or to Marin. So a very nice commute along the water. So along Embarcadero, you also have some of the most famous San Francisco restaurants. It's an area that you'll definitely find more high-end restaurants. So you've got places like the Angler, you've got Epic and Water Bar, which are staples. You have Coquette. You have so many amazing restaurants that are along the water, and you're gonna have beautiful views of the Bay Bridge. So no shortage of food there. It's a little bit pricier to eat there, so just definitely planning for that, but very sexy spots with beautiful views for restaurants. You also have a lot of new construction in the area. So in South Beach, there are no single family homes. It's an area where you're finding a more modern product. So lots of high rises, mid-rise communities, definitely all condos in the area, and of course some apartments, but largely there are condos in this neighborhood. But big views. So like if you're a view person, like South Beach is a fantastic option for you. I love living in these high-rise communities for so many reasons. I always chose higher floors because I got beautiful views of Treasure Island, the water, the Bay Bridge. So there's some really renowned, beautiful buildings in the area. One Stewart Lane is one of my favorites. It's actually the only waterfront building in San Francisco on the Embarcadero. So you have front row views of the water. They have beautiful floor to ceiling windows, so you get a view from nearly every room. Of course, if you're facing the water side, but they're just stunningly, it's just a stunning building. You've also got 181 Fremont, which is also occupied by Instagram for the first 52 floors. The residents start at floor 53. It's a boutique building with only about 67 units. Every unit is a corner there, and you can imagine the views. Having the unit start at floor 53, there's not a bad unit with the view. It's a little bit pricey to live in these buildings. The HOA dues are a little bit heftier, but they're very sexy. In the neighborhood, you've got those really, amazing communities, but you do have other options where you're not necessarily needing to buy a $3 million one-bedroom condo, which you can definitely buy at 181 Fremont. But there's buildings that offer just as many amenities, probably lower HOA dues, and views, and you can get into this neighborhood for as low as $750,000 for a one-bedroom condo. Your HOA dues will run at least around like $1,000 up to $3,000 for some of these more luxe buildings, but you get full concierge. Like I live there, I love living there because it feels very hotel-like and everything is taken care of and very walkable. Another thing I love about South Beach is that it's on the eastern edge of the city, but it is very central. You can get to almost anywhere in San Francisco within 20 minutes. The marina is about 25 minutes. You can get to Noe Valley in about 20 minutes, and like transportation is super easy, but also very accessible to highways going to the East Bay. So the Bay Bridge is right there, and also highways going south. So if you're living in the East Bay and working in San Francisco, it's very easy to get in and out of there. Also, if you're working in Silicon Valley, it's a very short commute. You're not driving through the city a lot. So it's great for that reason. Mission Bay and the Dog Patch are also adjacent to South Beach, and I love these neighborhoods, especially for those who are sports lovers. We have our San Francisco Giants in Mission Bay, and we've got the new Chase Center that hosts the Golden State Warriors in the Dog Patch. And so again, in these neighborhoods, there's a lot of new inventory, so very similar inventory that you'll find in South Beach. However, in South Beach, you are gonna get the high-rise buildings, whereas in Dogpatch and Mission Bay, you get more mid-rise buildings, but same concept in terms of full concierge lifestyle living. That's the kind of products that you'll find in these areas. In Mission Bay, you have a little bit more of a smaller walking corridor. It's called Ford Street. On Ford Street, you do have a good mix of workout studios, Pilates, yoga. You have Gus's Market, which is phenomenal. You also have a few restaurants along Ford Street as well. In Dogpatch, they built that whole new Chase Stadium, and right around Chase Stadium, there is a lot to do. Honestly, it's the most beautiful stadium ever. Like, you don't even need to buy a ticket to go see the Warriors because they have a massive screen right outside of the stadium, and so with like little bench seating, and so a lot of people just actually go hang out there and like bring their own drinks and food and watch the game for free. So that's a cool little tip if you're not looking to spend on a ticket to go see the Golden State Warriors, because I know they can get expensive, especially when they're really crushing it. In that same community where they built the Chase Center, there's a lot of options for like great food as well. This neighborhood also attracts a lot of people who work in biotech because you got the UCSF campuses there, which are new. And so I've helped a lot of people who are relocating because they are now working at UCSF, and they're largely looking in that Mission Bay Dogpatch area because it's super accessible to the hospital. And if you work in the tech industry, like, this is a great area to live if you just want to be able to walk to work. It's a very tech-centric part of town. You've got some major players there like Google, Uber. Several AI companies are now occupying spaces there in South Beach, in and around South Beach. And so it's an area that's very popular amongst people who work in tech because they want to just be able to walk to work. Another really nice thing about these neighborhoods is that they are actually very flat, so making it very easy to walk around in the area. But what's cool is that while they're flat, you do have amazing water views too. So you get easy walkability, you get great transportation, you have a lot of great options to hang out, and foods and lounges and things to do in the evening, and a wider range of price points. But there are no single family homes in the area. And so if you're looking more for that community lifestyle, community hotel-like living, this is an area for you. Last and certainly not least on the list is Mission Dolores / Eureka Valley. So Eureka Valley is essentially like between Mission Dolores and Noe Valley. So I'm going to talk about these areas kind of all as one. They're essentially all tied together in a lot of ways, but they're very different. They have little pockets that are very different. So I'm actually here at Mission Dolores Park. I know I said earlier that Alta Plaza Park was one of my favorites, but honestly, this is high up there for me as well. It's more on the side of town in which I grew up. I love this part of town because the weather is phenomenal. It's also, like South Beach, an area that's very, very sunny. You're away from the water, so you're gonna have less wind in this neighborhood as well. But Mission Dolores Park is just beautiful. It's a great place to hang out. Honestly, it's a very eclectic park, which is very San Francisco, where you will have like kids playing in this new playground behind me. And also on a sunny day, on a weekend, it gets really packed, and you'll have a bunch of people just like picnicking, bringing their own food and drinks. A lot of people smoking pot at the park. So you've got a good mix. And so it's just like, it's a very San Francisco feel. Like if you ever come on a weekday, on a weekend, on a sunny day, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's a beautiful park. You've got some tennis courts on the other side. You have views of downtown from where I'm standing. And it's a big, big park. So I love Mission Dolores Park. I love the palm trees. There's so much to love about just hanging out here. So let's talk about the Mission. And most people just think about the Mission as one big neighborhood, which it is, but there's actually two sides of the Mission. So we've got the Eureka Valley, Mission Dolores side, and you've got the inner Mission side. Let's start with the more desirable side of it. I think the inner Mission is great, but we'll talk about some of the differences here. So anything like sort of west of Valencia that's the Mission Dolores side. This side of town is going to be very walkable to the Valencia Street corridor. Valencia Street, we all know it. It's very well loved by Valencia Street. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's a very, I'd say, kind of hipster vibe / has a lot of like Latin influence. So it's a part of town where you're going to get a lot of Latin food. Lots of like street art, really cool like murals if you walk into some of these alley streets. Lots of restaurants, lots of bars, lots of fun stuff to do here. And then you also have the park, which is amazing. So this part of the Mission has become a little bit more gentrified over the years than say the Inner Mission has. And it's a little bit more desirable because you're more walkable to that Valencia Street corridor, which is the main strip where people are hanging out and things, and which is where you'll find everything to do. So the Inner Mission side, which is going to be more east of Mission Street, that part of the city is, I'd call it a little bit more blue collar. There's definitely some pockets of it that are better than others. You have 24th Street, which is very much a very Latin influenced street. You've got small mom and pop shops, so you're not going to find kind of like the newer restaurants, although there are a few that were mixed in. I think some of them didn't survive COVID, unfortunately, but largely you're going to find more like corner store bodegas, pupuserias. I'm from El Salvador, so you're going to find a lot of like taquerias and kind of just more casual mom and pop style restaurants along 24th Street. You've also got a pocket of around like between 19th Street and 21st Street, which is like my favorite part of the Inner Mission. And on that part of the Inner Mission, you're gonna find some of the best restaurants in San Francisco, like Flower and Water. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's an Italian restaurant. They change their menu seasonally. It's phenomenal. You must go. It's not the easiest place to get a reservation, but if you just show up and line up at 5 o'clock, you'll be able to get a table. So that's a great place. And just around the corner from it, you've got Penny Roma, which is another amazing little Italian spot. They have like a pasta shop that's tied to it. There's also Trick Dog, which is a known local favorite bar that's been there forever. It's nothing fancy, but it's got really good drinks, and you could go have a drink there while you're waiting for your table at Penny Roma or Flower and Water. You've got Farmhouse, which is an amazing Thai restaurant, and Tartine. Everybody knows and loves Tartine. So you've got actually the big Tartine on the Inner Mission side, and you've also got a smaller Tartine at 18th and Guerrero on the Mission Dolores side. Tartine is a great place to go grab a croissant, good breakfast. The one on Guerrero gets really, really busy on a weekend, so you definitely want to plan for that. But great, great food and restaurants all over the Mission. I'd say the Inner Mission side is a little bit more concrete, so you don't have as many green spaces, like you don't have an amazing park like Mission Dolores. It's just definitely more concrete on that side of town, but your money stretches a little bit further on the Inner Mission side than going into, say, Mission Dolores or Eureka Valley. The neighborhood is also adjacent to the Castro, which is very well known for its LGBTQ community. The Castro Street itself is amazing. It's another row of great things to do. You've also got 18th Street with a few restaurants that line that street as well. So all within just like 10 to 15 minute walking distance within another. You've got Valencia, Mission, Castro, 18th Street. All of them are walkable to one another. So lots of walking corridors here, lots of great food, and lots of options for housing stock as well. Okay, in terms of housing stock, you also got a great mix of single family homes, condos, and TICs in a neighborhood. On the Mission Dolores, Eureka Valley side, things are quite a bit more expensive than on the Inner Mission side. So let's start with the Inner Mission side. In the Inner Mission, you can buy a single family home from anywhere from about 1.7 to 2 million. And even in some cases, you can find a smaller, maybe 2-bedroom, 1-bath single family home for around 1.5. But I'd say largely between that 1.7 to just above 2 million, you can find a nice single family home in the Inner Mission side. Condos, again, range largely from, you can find a 1-bedroom condo for under $1 million there, but about 1.5 is a good starter budget for a 2-bedroom condo in the Inner Mission, although there are some that sell around the 1.2 range, probably in less desirable streets and maybe with no parking, but definitely doable. On the Eureka Valley, Mission Dolores side, things get a little bit more expensive there, where you have more single family homes that are selling, north of 2.5. It's really difficult to find a single family home in Eureka Valley for under 2.5 million. You're going to get more views on this side of the Mission because you're up the hill a bit, and so it does get a little hillier here. Versus on the Inner Mission side, it's very flat. So you get better views, more expensive to live there. Condos and TICs are an option there as well, but definitely looking at a minimum of about 1.6 for a 2-bedroom condo, up to 2.5 million for those condos that are really turnkey, beautifully done with big views. So while they're very close and adjacent to one another, they are very different and have a very, very different feel. I do think that some buyers are just like absolutely no to the intermission, but are open to Mission Dolores. So it definitely has a different feel. In terms of who decides to live here, there's honestly a wider range of people. In the intermission side, you are gonna find a little bit more blue collar folks who have been there for a very, very long time. My parents grew up in Bern. In fact, the first house I ever lived in San Francisco was on the intermission side on Hampshire Street. But it's a very blue collar neighborhood that people have been in for many, many years. On the Mission Dolores, Eureka Valley side, you've got a lot of people with families. So it's a great place for families with children, but also young folks too, because of its accessibility to the Mission. So we've covered just a few neighborhoods today, and there are many neighborhoods in San Francisco. Albeit it being a small city, there are several other neighborhoods that do offer walkability as well. I chose to cover just the ones that had the highest walk scores today, but if you're looking to move to San Francisco and you want help with finding the neighborhood that's best suited for you, feel free to call, text, or email, and we'd be happy to help.